In the last decade, house prices have increased dramatically,
I can't give her a nice home, I can't give her a stable future.
leaving many people in the UK unable to buy a home.
I don't own my own house. My mum didn't own her own house.
And over half struggling to pay rent.
There's so many people that can't afford a house.
Now, property millionaire Marco is doing something remarkable
I'm giving away a flat.
that could transform a family's future.
We are homeless.
What am I worried about? Having no eyesight and not being able to earn money.
I just want better for them.
Who do you give it to? It's an impossible situation.
Get a house for free, Tuesday at 9 on Channel 4.
I see a preview of your show, and I watched the emotions, and I watched a number of the episodes. Well, Marco, what prompted you to say, let's go give away a house, or give away a flat, as you would say in the UK?
Why not?
Well,
Why not?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what motivated you? What said, hey, I'm the guy to go do that?
Well, for me, I was homeless. So my background is from that, from that place. So when I was 2 years old, my mum left my dad because he was a gambler. I mean, he had a terrible gambling addict and basically spent all the money, so she had to leave him. Then she went to live with her mum and her stepfather, but her stepfather sexually abused her. Now, she only told me this last year as the TV show is about to be produced. She'd not told me for 50 years. This was 50 years, right? Yeah. And she also said when she was 12 years old, her stepfather approached her and said, I didn't marry your mum for your mum. I married your mum to get to you. So you can imagine how terrified she is as a human being in that environment.
And they have to live with it that long.
And had to live with it for 50 years without telling a soul. Yeah. So, I only found this out last year, so I'm going, what the fuck shit, man,
Exactly, it's some heavy stuff.
That's heavy shit.
If you're 50 years old.
That's heavy shit.
It's tough to have your mom tell you something like that.
So I was on and off. I was in and out of homes for about 10 years with my mum. I've been on the street many times. I can tell you, I've been in the worst kind of places, the worst kind of shit, the worst kind of stuff. And what that did, though, it gave me a hell of a kick up the backside because, shit, I've been in the worst situations. What's the worst that can happen to me? I'm going to live on the street. So, fucking what? I've been there and done it, So for me, it was like a blessing in disguise. It was like the best childhood I could be given to learn how to be an entrepreneur.
A bad experience.
Yes. A real desperate situation.
Well, you got nowhere to go.
Exactly, because what I learned is there's only two things in life that get you to do shit. Desperation and inspiration. Yeah. All the rest of it in between is a load of shit.
Okay.
Right? There's one thing or the other.
Tell it like it is.
So
but you wouldn't wish that desperation on anyone, would you?
I wouldn't wish people on the street. That's why I did this TV show. Yeah. Because the social housing issue across the world is in epidemic proportions.
Well, but it's particularly tough in the UK, though, too. I mean, the have and have-nots, right? In terms of property values.
Well, I think it mirrors the States. I think it mirrors the States.
Although I think in certain parts of the United States, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean,
my part of the country in South Dakota, you can tend to get a pretty good house for a fairly decent price.
For a fairly decent price, yeah. So there are 1.6 billion people displaced in the world. And when I did the TV show, what I did is a year before that, I gave a house away for free as part of a marketing campaign for my new book. And of course, I sold a lot of books.
Certainly.
You buy the book and you get a free ticket to win the house. So Channel 4, I'd done some research trying to find a person that would give a house away. I wasn't the first person they asked. And what I was really shocked about was they asked millionaires, billionaires, they wouldn't give a house away for free. They wouldn't give it. The best they got was a year's rent. Now, if you've got a homeless family, a year's rent is great, but what's going to happen after a year if they haven't got that income stream coming in? So that wasn't really the solution. So they asked me, and I said, yes, I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that. So I did the TV show with them, and I gave 3 houses away in that TV show. I gave a house away to a single mum with a baby who had been abused by 5 stepfathers and 1 stepmother.
I don't mean to cut you off, but did you make the decision, or did the TV make the decision?
I made the decision. There was 25,000 applicants.
And this is really you writing the check, too, right?
Oh, it's my property, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I mean.
It's my risk.
Yeah.
It's my risk.
But you also come from a property background too, right?
Yeah, actually, before that, I'd done real estate for about 10 years. And what I did is in the subprime crisis, I bought houses in your part of the world, Jeff, for $5,000 and flipped them for $50,000.
Well, that's pretty smart.
Yeah. And I sold them to the Asian community as a great cash flow investment.
Sure.
So I did that a lot, and I bought about 150 houses of my own.
How was it?
Yeah.
How difficult was it for you to be a person from another country to be able to buy property in another country?
Well, for me, it wasn't really a problem because I'd never really had a home. So for me, I could be anywhere in the world and still be happy.
All right, that's an interesting
Yeah.
thing. I would consider myself truly an American boy.
Yeah.
What would you consider yourself as? I mean, you live most of your time in Malaysia, right?
I would consider myself a human being, a citizen of the world.
See, what are you trying to
Yeah.
one-up me on this?
I'm not trying to one-up you.
It's my show, Marco. It's my show.
I'm making it my show now, baby.
Hey, for the right price, it could be yours.
Yeah, it's just because of my background.
Yeah.
I'd never had a home.
Right.
So when I was able to give a home that I didn't have as a kid to someone that didn't have a home now, that for me completed a journey and gave me purpose like you wouldn't fucking believe, man. I mean, I was so driven. When I gave the house away on the last day of the filming, I had this flu came over me. My nose was running, my eyes were streaming, I couldn't speak, and I said to the producers, I can't give this house away, I can't speak. Can you please get to the pharmacy and get me some medication? And then I saw this person kind of walking around the garden I'd not seen before, and I asked who this was, and she said, I'm a psychologist, I'm here today. I said, what the hell are you doing here? She said, I'm here because I've got to tell the person you're giving the house to get them through, because they're not going to be prepared for that. So I went, oh, okay. And she said to me, you haven't got flu, you're having an emotional reaction to the house you're giving away because of unresolved childhood issues. Whoa! Right?
Deep, right?
So I'm getting like therapy.
There's not a lot of medicine for that.
No, that was the best therapy, not from her.
Yeah.
But when I gave that house away, I cried for 2 days.
Yeah.
I'd never cried for 40 years.
Was it getting back in touch with those emotions, or was it the joy? Was it a mix of everything?
It was everything. It was like letting go of it was like letting go of a place in my mind where I was like protecting myself all the time.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you find that in business from time to time? I mean, that was a piece of you giving forward. But I mean, we all birth businesses. You birth many. I
Yes.
do the same. There is a feeling of that. Like,
Yes.
now what, right?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's a void to some extent. Like when I've sold the company, like,
What do we do now? Yeah.
Now what? You know. The good news is I think as serial entrepreneurs, we kind of keep replacing it with something else, so we're always
Bigger and better.
right? We really do that. You're doing that now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So talk to me about naked.
Naked.
Not getting naked, but naked.
Time to get naked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The naked technology.
Have you seen a grown man naked, Jeff?
I have. I've seen your trailer for the new movie. Yeah,
So Naked is an empire I started actually not that long ago, about 6 years ago. So I had a broken relationship, and me and my girlfriend wanted our own restaurant as a hobby, just for
And where is this?
This is in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. For anyone who's not been there, the people do not live in trees. It's very advanced.
It's a very nice country.
Everyone speaks English. It's a great place. So we had this restaurant. I signed the 2-year lease on it, and right, we're going to go ahead. Then she left me for another guy. I was in love. It's the first time I'd been in love in my life, so I was like, oh my God, completely devastated. The worst pain I can tell you is a broken heart, right? So I'm like 6 months, I'm numb. I didn't know what to do with my life. And the restaurant was just like left there. So I'm thinking, and I eventually got better. I got better and better, but it took me a long time to get over that. So, and there was times I was at home crying my eyes out because she wasn't there.
Right.
And actually one time I did consider doing that. That was how low it was.
You suffer from that kind of depression? Or?
I have suffered from that kind of depression, but not that major, because I was in love with that person. It was like, she was like my soulmate, So anyway, I got over that, and I got an invitation to the Playboy Mansion when Hefner was alive, because I'd sold the most real estate in the States. So I came over and had the night of my life.
All right, now, I do want to recall that.
I have to tell you.
Keep the story straight.
It's not going to be, don't worry, I'm not going to make it X-rated.
Okay.
But it was like the most amazing night because it gave me redemption and validation as a man again, that I was attractive to women, you know. And I went home with the Playboy bunny that night. I didn't pay for it, by the way, but that's what happened. So it was an amazing night. And Hugh Hefner came out about midnight.
This interview was taking a twist I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, but you're kind of enjoying it, right?
yeah, and I might be getting a call from your publicist as well, so it'd be great.
So Hefner came out at midnight with his young wife in his smoking jacket and shook my hand, and it was just amazing. It's bizarre, but the most amazing party I've ever had in my entire life.
He's genuinely a good guy.
Great guy. He was a great guy.
Before he passed. I know his daughter really well. She's a very good friend.
I know Cooper Hefner. We're doing some business together in blockchain, actually. That's interesting. Anyway, talking about naked. So I thought, right, we're in Malaysia. It's a Muslim country. What can I call this restaurant that's going to get people's attention and that's going to get people to eat there? So I thought, fuck it, I'll call it Naked.
Okay.
Right? So all my Muslim friends said, you cannot call it Naked. This is a Muslim country, man. You can't do that. It's haram. Haram in Muslim means forbidden. Yeah. So I said, fantastic. That kind of endorses I'm right.
Big publicity, right?
So I called it Naked. I launched it, and 1,000 people queued up on the first day.
Mm-hmm. And what's the theme of the restaurant?
The theme is, well, the Naked brand is about being yourself.
Yeah.
It's about transparency. This goes into blockchain now, yeah? It's about having a good time. It's about kind of being in a place where you don't feel judged.
So how much of your life parallels that brand?
Exactly.
Okay. Did you beforehand? Because you do seem like a little bit of a shock value guy.
Yes, I am.
Which you are.
Yeah.
And so I think there's that element, but I also, having visited, and you and I have talked numerous times now, there's that elements of intelligence that's stripping through, and I see you thinking through those steps, 300 milliseconds, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, naked.
Yeah.
Right? And being a very strategic decision, not just one to shock the hell out of everybody, but if you can do both, you kind of like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after the restaurant, I started Naked Cosmetics. I did Naked, everything I called it Naked, basically. So I created an ecosystem of businesses that supported each other.
And again, getting back to your word empire, I think is a fair.
Exactly.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah. And I have my own travel company called Naked Travel. So, you know, that's a fully licensed agency.
Now that could have a different twist to it too.
It can. But that's what goes through people's mind, and the marketing message is very powerful.
Right.
So my ecosystem had all these different diverse businesses, but the businesses were strategic, Jeff, because I looked at the businesses which were growing the most in terms of consumer traffic. Travel, huge, right?
Right.
It was 10 trillion last year, now it's 15 trillion.
So
you know?
why? So it seems to me you picked a little bit of a theme here, right?
Yeah.
So the travel, hospitality,
Yes.
restaurants, is that where you're kind of going with it? Is it the peeling back of the facade of all that stuff, or?
It's not the budget air travel kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? It's value, right? It's a value exchange.
Experience?
It's an experience.
Okay. Could I get the feeling when we talked, I joined my podcast show, All Business, which is on C-Suite Radio, and we talked about the restaurant pretty extensively.
Yeah.
And it's that naked food experience. It's really getting the raw foods, not raw foods, but just the
Stripping
raw,
down the food.
Yeah, exactly. Let's don't over.
Well, that's interesting because, yeah, people have different perceptions, and actually the restaurant won Tatler's Best Restaurants in its first year.
I mean,
right?
you go and see the promos on the videos.
Yeah.
It's nothing but luxury.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, it's
exactly.
I saw your premiere video with running it out. It was pretty swank.
Well, the interesting thing was, it's interesting because when you say you own a restaurant, people's perception of you as a business person, I should say, is different. It's weird. It's, wow, you own a restaurant? It's like, when you write a book, I'm an author. Wow, you're an author? Wow. So you kind of get this respect as you go along. Now, that restaurant was only one restaurant, but people thought I had 1,000 restaurants. Mm-hmm. So the brand is really powerful in what it can do for you. So I created this ecosystem, and then Bitcoin came along, blockchain came along. Right. I thought, what the hell is Bitcoin, right? So you guys today, I've been listening to a lot of people on the panel, great people talk about what's happening in the blockchain space. Right now it's blockchain and marijuana, right?
Well, it's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's anything that could be applied in order to give more security to
yes.
the buying
so it's all
process.
about transparency, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good word. That's actually a better word than security.
Yeah.
Because it's not always going to be secure. Because yesterday, just in the news, there was billions of dollars hacked out of a crypto fund. billions,
Yes.
billions of dollars
Yes.
out of a crypto fund. So that, I don't know if security is the right word, but I do like the word transparency.
Well, yes, I mean, that's an oxymoron because actually Bitcoin has never been hacked. It's only the exchanges because the exchange security has not been the blockchain security it should have been, right? And I'm starting my own exchange. Guess it was called Naked. There you go. Well, so transparency is what people want now. Well, they want to go to buy a product. They want to know they're getting value. They want to know each touch point of that product from where it came from. They don't want to know they bought a product that was made in India by a kid that's 10 years old that only costs $2. So blockchain uncovers that. You know, blockchain is like the truth serum, right? Bitcoin's the red pill. Blockchain's the truth serum.
But it also, blockchain also gives you the ability to do many more transactions quickly,
Absolutely.
layers the technology, and there's a lot more that's to it, and that piece of it. So I'm curious, all right, property,
Yep.
real estate, speaking,
Yep.
author, you know, entrepreneur. Which label do you like the most?
There's so many, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean there is, but that's I don't
I think
see
in-
that as a problem because I think we're made up of many cells. Why can't we made up of many titles?
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. I know when people ask me what I do, that's my most difficult challenge.
Yeah.
Where do I start? You know, but
I tell
that's
you right now,
great.
my grandfather, because that's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
proud
cool.
of.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people find out and uncover the layers.
Yeah.
You know, so many things, but it's like, so what? Who cares? You've got to do what you love to do. And because I built this ecosystem, everything I love to do, as well as serving people, it kind of fits together. And that's where the philanthropy came.
Well, I want to get back to the philanthropy because
Yeah.
it's very unique. And you know, a person I evaluate or that I really appreciate a lot in my life is my children. And my son is also a pretty smart guy and he read the white paper, says the best white paper he's ever read.
Wow!
Which is pretty impressive.
I like it.
Because it takes a lot to impress him, and I was very impressed by that.
Yeah.
Which then prompted me, I got to read this now. But, you know, the other piece of it with that, though, is you said, well, I found out about blockchain. What was your process then for you to move from all the other labels you had before and being a real expert in property and the things that you were doing, and of course now philanthropy because the property led you to the philanthropy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it led to the wealth.
It did.
The creation from there led
Yeah.
to that. So we'll get back to that. But then what process did you do yourself? Because you don't seem like a guy that has a high attention span. And I say that very respectfully. Right? So what did you...
Because of the Playboy Mansion story, was
Well,
it?
no, there's a lot, many of the stories, quite frankly. But what did you do to immerse yourself into to become the expert so that you could write the white paper, create the exchange, and leads me to believe I want to give you money?
Yeah. Well, one thing I've always been good at is speaking on stage to audiences, right? So I thought, how can I own the blockchain space? What can I do? And what I like to do is, if I'm going to do something new, think about me. If I'm going to do something new, I want to be the best. I want to be up there. I don't want to be like, you know, average. So it's very important for me to do as much research as I could to find out what is it really all about? Who's in this space? What's the technology all about? Because I am not, you know, a technical guy, but I understand it. But if you want me to explain the hash keys and all that kind of stuff, no, I'm not going to be able to explain it very well because I don't understand it in that respect. I understand it fundamentally, that's the most important thing. And what a lot of people make the mistake of is they kind of complicate stuff if they don't have to. Blockchain is just a transparent way of making transactions. That's it, right? So, where was I? So, what was the question again?
So it's okay. Yeah. What did you do to immerse yourself into it?
Well, I basically started my own currency called Naked Dollars. Mm-hmm. And I basically put all of my businesses into my cryptocurrency so my customers could use Naked Dollars to buy cosmetics, buy travel, go to my restaurants.
And how are they doing
all
that?
that kind of
They
thing.
have a naked credit card or what?
No, they have the currency. They bought the currency, and they have a wallet,
Okay.
right? And they can just spend it in my businesses and my ecosystem. And now I've got ATM machines. I've got naked ATM machines.
How big is that?
It's actually big, but it's not that big yet.
Yeah.
It's growing.
Yeah.
And you know, the people that bought the currency enable it to grow even more. There were some people today that mentioned if you're keeping 30% of the funds, then that's really bad. But actually, you've got to develop the businesses. You've got to, if people are investing in you, you've got to allocate that money to develop the brand, create the duplication processes, create the franchise and stuff like that. So that's what I was able to do. I was able to scale it.
Is there anybody that you model after?
I would say, you know, it's not just one person. I would say,
Who are a few of them?
Definitely Tesla.
Yeah.
Definitely Tony Robbins.
Richard
Branson, some of it.
Yeah,
some of
I
it.
can see some elements, not because you're just British, but because...
Abraham Lincoln is one of my role models.
Why?
Because of his value system. Right? So I look at people's value systems and go, do I want to be in bed with this person? Do I want to partner with this person? Because I'm fiercely loyal. So I want to be with someone that has the same values as me in terms of philanthropy, you know? Because to be honest with you, it doesn't go well all of the time. It actually goes there are some real disasters, I can tell you. Even my own family want it ripping me off for one, you know? It doesn't go well all the time. You are going to make mistakes, you are going to fail, you are going to lose all your money.
But that's part of the process.
That's part of the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Most people think that's the destination, the end, and that's just part of what happens.
Yeah, but it's all experience.
And you're going to fail a lot.
You have to fail a shitload, yeah.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people ask me, what's the biggest failure you've ever had? I don't know, I haven't had it yet, which means I'm going to have something bigger.
Yeah.
I know it. Or same thing with success, right? A lot of people say the same thing. What's your biggest success? And I always say, I don't know.
Your biggest success is what you can learn most from that experience that gets you to the place you want to be.
So tell me about the exchange. We've got a few minutes left. I want to know more about the exchange. Why create Naked Exchange, and why your exchange over anybody else's?
Well, I had an issue listing naked dollars because the marketplace changed. So for example, on Binance, one of the biggest crypto exchange, last year, 9 months ago, to list your coin was 3 Bitcoin. Now it's $3 million, right? Now it wasn't.
That's not on all exchanges, though. I mean,
it's not on all exchanges.
In another exchange called CoinLion, and we don't require that. You just got to be very good.
Yeah, it's not all that, but it's also they're going to delist you if you don't have a certain liquidity, right? So I was finding out they were delisting. There was no contracts. It wasn't really credible.
Yeah, but there are a great number of exchanges that are doing it the right way in order to be it. It's the Wild West.
It is the Wild West.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create something that gave people education, number one. Because if you talk to people on the street and you say, what's Bitcoin? They go, I don't know, right? People, have you traded Bitcoin? No, I haven't, right? Would you like to? Oh, it's really difficult. No, I'm not going to do that. So you've only got 100 million Bitcoin wallets out there. Nobody knows what it's about.
It is difficult. That's what I think is interesting. The SEC here in the United States is talking about, you know, they have to protect the investors, and I'm going, do you know how hard it is to actually get an account and trade this?
Yes.
You have to have a lot of smarts, and it's very difficult and go through many hurdles just to get it done.
So what I did a year ago, Jeff, is I started my own naked retreats. Right?
Yeah.
So I took all my investors to a retreat for 3 days, and I taught them, number one, how to trade Bitcoin, what is it, how to trade altcoins, and how to make a lot of money. And I've been doing that for 1 year now, and I gave houses away to them, competitions away to them, all that kind of stuff. So I've got that track record of success and trades.
Where are you doing those? I'm curious.
I'm doing all over. I did the last one in Monaco. I did the one before that in Malaysia, and the next one's in Phuket, July the 6th.
Well, if you ever want to do one in South Dakota, let me know.
You're invited to Phuket, Jeff. If you want to leave, have you got a passport?
I do.
Then come to Phuket and get naked.
Get naked.
So I had that track record.
That's not in my cards right now.
Yeah. And I was able to trade successfully, and now I give buy and sell signals only to my investors, and they trade them, and they're very successful doing that.
And what's the process? Where are you at in the process right now? Are you going through the round?
So now, June 23rd, we start private sales, private equity sales. We've got people queuing up because I've got education where I teach people how to trade, what is Bitcoin. So there's online modules, and there's retreats as well. I've got a peer-to-peer lending platform on my exchange.
That is the unique piece that I thought
which is really cool.
I thought that, in reading the white paper, I thought that was the jewel of what you've got.
Yes, because you can stake your tokens to somebody. Now, this person could have been homeless, or they need help, right? So there's a credit marketplace as well. So you can decide to stake your tokens for someone to either trade, to buy a house and be rehoused. Now, getting onto the housing thing, I'm building houses in Peru for $8,000 with electric, plumbing, fully fitted with furniture. I'm going to Peru on Sunday to film the film and put some families in there. So you can microfinance a loan, you can microfinance a person to start a business like a coffee shop and a bicycle, something like that, or you can stake tokens. Willing lender, willing borrower. And you can decide how much risk you want to take in that network. So that is really cool. So I've developed a side chain, technical terms, that's off the main chain, where you can come off the main chain. I've got an app, you can send crypto to people, you can stake them, they agree an interest rate with you, and it's like a WeChat platform. It's superb, right?
Are you automating that then for the people to be able to make those deals happen?
Yes.
Between the two?
Yes.
Are you certifying those either, it's certifying in some way either the lender or lendee?
I'm certifying both of them because they have to take a course with me to be able to trade. Unless they can prove to me they've got a trading history, right?
What do you base on that? I'm just curious. What do you base on on their ability to be able to trade?
Well, they're not drunk, they're not alcoholics, they're not drug
I mean,
addicts.
you don't ask those questions,
Yeah.
do you? I mean, so literally, are you going to base it on?
Well, there's two components. I mean, you know, in terms of the philanthropy, there is that testing process. Because some homeless people are drug addicts, and you cannot help them the way you can help someone who wants to get out of that situation. Right? So that's that side of it. The other side of it is, it's a very basic online thing. Have you traded? What is this? Ask a couple of questions. It's an easy thing, right? And the people that, to be honest with you, the people that are lending out tokens normally are kind of more wealthier than the average kind of guy, right? However, saying that, it's not just exclusively to people like that, because it can be the everyday person who you know, you lend your token to somebody, and that action actually helps somebody to have a meal for one day, or even eat for the whole day and feed the family. How good are you going to feel about that? That's the most incredible feeling there is on this planet. It's being able to watch somebody that you've helped transform their life, get to a better place, and get to a place where they can live their lives to their potential. That's my purpose, and that's why Naked X Exchange. Because Naked X Exchange, I can distribute that globally, very fast, and reach more people. So that's why I did it.
Well, congratulations and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right.
Pleasure.
Thank you.